Could I ask you to please put your names on the workbooks?
Yeah, sure.
Up to you whether you actually choose them, but you will have a choice. If you decide to lose them, what do we do with them? We use them as reference. Just put your name at the top. It's locked in a tangle in it, yeah, when we're not using it. So,
Just the name, yes.
just your name, that's all you need, yeah. That basically gives a sort of like a example of the material as we're running through. You get one of these yeah. And like I say, anything we put in it, we tend to use as input into your reports when we write your reports.
You've got a lot of tattoos, Steve. Just in case you're not aware of that, you know.
Not really.
Quite nice, mate. Quite nice. Nice colours. Yeah. Echo works here. Echo works here.
Yeah. You feeling hot?
So, no, just a second.
We've got aircon on at the moment, so hopefully it'll cool down enough for you with all that stuff. Right, who can, from the first session that you attended, I wasn't here, we're going to do a proper check-in in a little while so I can introduce myself because I haven't met yourself. Can you tell me what the structure of the program is, please? What happens if you miss a session?
We'll catch up. Yeah.
What time do you have to attend the catch-up?
11 o'clock.
How do you know that?
Me personally, because I've missed one. So.
But how did you know the time was 11 o'clock?
I got a text.
Yeah.
I have a text.
Was there any other time that you were told that the catch-ups were 11 o'clock?
Maybe on the induction, I can't remember.
Yeah, induction, so when, not just an induction, but at the pre-group stage. Yeah, there were 2 occasions where each individual was told it's 11 o'clock. The reason I know that is we actually, we recorded that part of the process has been gone through, and then you sign the conditions of success. So that's our evidence that we've relayed that information. Just for future, please arrive for 11 if you have got a catch up. Because we don't want to sort of end up reaching anybody if they don't attend. But did you hear the other 2 times that you were told?
The catch-up session, but not specifically on that time. I was told it was a catch-up session, but not the exact time.
So did you attend at 11 o'clock?
I didn't get any technical notification.
Sorry, what I'm saying is, did you get that information at the induction?
Yes, I did, but not the specific time. So it was before the initial, before this session.
Okay. Well, initially obviously, but for future, if you do miss a group session, you are expected to come the next session at 11 AM to catch up.
No, I'm clear what happened there.
That, we're not sort of like so worried about it, it's more the fact we don't want you to end up, because it adds up into your other failures to attend with the probation officer. So for not having the information, we want you to be sure that you understand. So if you miss on a Monday, it's the following week that you always have the catch up.
It's not on Wednesday?
Yeah,
Yes.
so the following group
So if I miss on Monday, then I will catch up on Wednesday?
Yes, it has to be like you can't miss a load.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Makes sense,
It's to
yeah.
do with the integrity of the
Yeah,
program.
makes sense, because you may have and then you...
Yeah.
The other thing is it's a bit like responsibility. If you're unsure, then contact us. Yeah? Or phone to say that you're not going to be here. We understand that actually when you first starting off, that it can be forgotten. But our hands are a little bit tied in respect that we have to keep to that for you. our treatment manager can go, you say, right, there's them up and this is the person's off the group. And you don't want to restart again from the beginning anyway, especially if you're doing well. It seems a bit unfair, but I'm afraid that's the structure. Okay? So that's the little bit. Any questions about it, let us know. And now a quick check-in. We're going to do it slightly different this week. I'm just going to do a general check-in. 2 questions. Any changes from your previous session with us? Any contact with any partners? 2 questions, same questions for everyone. I'll start with this section.
Sure. Not much change since the last session. Everything's still going well. Sounds like a new partner now. Still friends.
And any contact with your...
No.
Right, okay.
It's
Okay, that's fine. Marvin, would you mind following this? Or no, it's not Marvin, it's...
Ryan.
Right.
no changes. I've got a restraint. So I've got a contact with
Is yours a restraining order where basically you just go back to prison, the type of order that you've got?
What, if I contact her?
Yeah, if you broke it.
I thought that was standard for most licenses. Each year. You know what I mean? Especially.
You get community service. Depends on the they go right back to the root cause of everything. So it depends how violent the altercation was and all that. They weren't really too happy about her lies, to be honest. They knew she was lying, so that's pretty lucky.
No, I think that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is what Marvin's correct. If you're on license,
License is different.
that's different.
Yeah.
Okay,
There could be
maybe.
an immediately.
Yeah.
How long in prison for that?
Up to 5 years.
Yeah.
Up to, but
No
no
one's
more.
contacting her, mate.
But again, if you're not sure, I'd recommend that you check out with your probation officers.
Yeah, no, it's basically it's indefinite. Restraining order.
Right. So it's very good you're aware of that, because basically they've told you that, you know that if you overstep that mark, there'll be consequences.
That's fine.
Well,
Well, you kept it on well. Yeah.
is that a change, or is...
Yeah.
Okay, good. Any reason why you're getting on well?
No, I think at the end of the day, she understands that she made a mistake as well, and she's trying to work on herself, and I'm here, so
That sounds good. Yeah, they're both people who are actually trying to work on themselves. Yeah, can understand. Thank you. Peter?
Well, no changes here since Monday. Same old playing tennis. Therefore, gym. Just trying to kill the time. Focus on work.
Contact?
No contact.
That's right. I need to come back. Did you have a job interview today? Yeah, and so you might need to leave a little bit early, yeah?
and my company is still putting pressure on me because they want me to come back.
Oh.
Yeah, I've talked to my manager. She's cool about it.
Yeah.
All she's waiting for is the CR to make the decision and I'm coming there. Like yesterday, she called me more than 3 times.
Yes.
Okay, so at least you got options then.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm pleased for you. Okay,
Same as since Monday.
so no changes, no contact.
All that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, same. No,
Sorry, can I ask you to introduce, because we haven't actually met, have we?
yeah, well, if I here,
Yeah.
I was here initial session, I missed the last one.
Yeah.
I'm in the third one. 52 years old. My parents are going to
Okay. What about any contact?
No contact and no changes.
I'm Steve, by the way. All right, nice to meet you, and thank you for coming. Have you got anything you would like to follow up with today?
Me? No. Yourself?
No, apart from I need to actually stop calling Ryan Martin. And I don't know how I'm going to do that in my head, because I think it's been, what was it, 4.5 months.
Okay. Right. So does anyone sort of recall what we did on Monday? I know Tahir was going to see if anyone could jog on their memory to see if they can help Tahir out, give them a brief about what was talked about on Monday. I know we didn't complete, but
We talked about, we had a brainstorm of the messages that we get from the media. So that was one of the, not all, but that was one of the topics, and how that can affect us from like our current relationships, past relationships, and future. Wiring.
okay. Thank you, Francis. Anybody else have anything similar or different?
The way we talk to our partners and we then cause them aggravation or how to just do a timeout.
Oh, yeah.
Timeout with if we the conversation is going nowhere and it's building up, going towards fight or aggravation of parties.
So yeah, in a nutshell, to what we looked at was how the messages from the media, how it affects our perception of men, women, and intimate relationships in general. So we looked at different media outlets and what they sort of put out about us as individuals and relationships as well. And we also looked at a timeout skill as a crisis management, to what you could do to sort of bring your arousal level back down when sort of having that sort of dispute with your partner maybe. But again, we can catch up social media as well later on. What we didn't get a chance to do was yeah. Okay, so what we didn't get a chance to do is a Q tool, which is basically a tool to help you sort of figure out or challenge your beliefs that some of us may hold. So it's just about evaluating a belief that you had and whether you could come up with a counter statement to some of the beliefs that we hold, and just to see if there's any discrepancies or any differences, if we can have any different views on things, and evaluating your belief as a whole. So we did get a chance to do it, so we'll run through it quickly, and then we'll actually move into what we're actually going to do today. Session. Anything like that, Steve?
Yeah, I think that also added to the usefulness and the evaluation is looking at it's on those past, present, and future. I think that's a really important factor within it, to show whether you're shifting or whether you've made any movement on that belief, or whether it's just stuck there. It gives you an opportunity to see whether you're able to put this in place. She's never got a belief.
Yeah.
There's the next one, I think there's a chart there as well.
Yes, please. Okay, so we're going to run through the Q tool using the belief that we spoke about last session. So some of the things that we saw from the media outlet and what they thought about men, women, and how it affects us. And then we'll run through what the Q tool actually stands for, and then we'll try and come up with a counter statement and challenge our beliefs. Okay, so how many do you think we should try? Keep 6?
Let's see how we go. We'll see what the beliefs come out, or the information source.
Okay.
Because that'll be very quick.
Yeah. Okay, so if we can have, so we'll go this way, that's all right. So as an information source, if you could choose one maybe information source of media where you feel like information comes across from. So similar to what we did last Monday, we looked at the messages that comes out from men, women, and how it affects you.
So just one, like,
What source of media is sort of like quite personal to you that you get a lot of your information from?
oh, this is that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Thank you.
And if you can remember each of your ones that you do, please.
And what messages about men does that sort of feed to you?
What messages?
What messages does that give about men, that sort of?
I guess, I mean, sometimes I see a lot of materialism, so it's just like, men seem to be more attractive when they have material.
Okay.
Fun material.
So materialism, sort of the success of that. Thank you. And what about women? What is?
The attention that comes with it.
What do you mean?
I think, people online would say, like social, like things like Instagram would be the best way for women to get attention.
Okay.
No, but
Yeah. Okay. So they can use it as a way to get attention.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And what effect does that have on you?
I guess it's when there's let's say there's a female on there that has like so many guys commenting on it. It's like a turn off for me, personally. It's just like, oh, well, she doesn't do time for something like that.
Okay.
If I'm interested in it.
Right.
Like I turn off, is that okay?
Yeah, turn off.
Okay. Anything else? What? Anything else? Does it affect you in any other way? Apart from you feel like maybe there might be a barrier with some other.
Yeah, I guess sometimes there's an image, like there's a, what I say, more tenuous image. So
Okay.
portray sort of-
Okay, so it's sort of society pushes to portray something sort of in a certain way.
Right.
Okay.
So if I did that correctly, the image of yourself, is that?
No, like trying to portray something that, you're not necessarily not in real life.
Right,
There's
is
a
that
lot.
you though, or?
That could be me, that could be, females and males as well.
Right, okay. I'm going to change it in
Questions, yeah.
That's almost, I'm doing false.
But,
Like false.
yeah. Awesome.
Delusional, you mean?
Okay. Thank you for that, Francis. Ryan, same question to you. So where do you mainly get your information source from?
The news.
Newsview, okay. And what are some of the messages that the news portray, like for things, in terms of regards to men?
It's a difficult question, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, say that not all men are bad. Say, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
if you hear stories, it's always called balance. It's news, isn't it? So you hear bad things, but you might see domestic violence and all that, but you might see
Positive things.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And same question, so what does the news portray for you about women? Got some messages that such.
So they want to be heard more, you know what I mean? They want to be heard more. Doing what men do jobs that men do, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay. Thank you. And how does that affect you as an individual?
But then I think I like progression, isn't it?
Right.
People want to better themselves,
So
you know what I mean?
it's had a positive impact on you. Cool. Thank you. Same question to you, this Mark. What's your information source?
Well, I think we've got our information from the same place, so I'll add a little bit more to what you said.
Okay, so with you it's Instagram as well?
Instagram and Snapchat.
Yeah? Instagram and Snapchat, okay.
Okay.
Thank you. And what does these this information source have the messages about men?
Yeah, about how people deceive, like men deceive girls with fake life.
Okay.
I missed the last bit though.
Fake life. Men deceiving girls with fake life. So they're portraying an image that
Yeah, like I'll use myself as an example.
Okay.
I think 7 months ago, like I posted like 10K. Like, it wasn't my money was in, but not all of them.
Yeah.
And after a couple of days, I got tagged by some boys that they come to gym with me.
Oh right, they attacked you
Yeah.
based on what you put on,
Yeah,
thinking that's
obviously,
right.
yeah.
Right, wow. So really that shows how quick people can be envious of you as well through social media. Thank you for sharing. And same question in regards to women. What do you see?
Same thing, that women live fake life to convince men that they are this, they are that, but they are not that. Some of them even ask their friends, dress to take a picture, human hair and stuff like that, just to let people know that they are living that life.
So, okay, so it sort of sounds like it's the same for men and women, both living like a fake life through pressures. Okay. And how has that affected you? Of course you've shared the potential attack. What else has it?
So now, I've learned my lesson.
Right.
That not trying to show off too much, and just be myself. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you for that. Peter, same question to you. What's your information source?
I don't follow any Instagrams and all those sort of beliefs.
That's fine, yeah.
Yours shows Instagram as well.
No, actually the opposite. I don't just be wind up in the whole thing. Yeah, I believe it's all fake. So I would say the only thing I watch probably I will get information from looking news as well. It's the most accurate. Not accurate those days. Yeah, so news, and then about men, obviously you get both information. So some could be women, women having problems with men, and then men having problems or being arrested or killing or what you hear or rapes or other things. So I would say that it works for both. That's the information I get. That it's not just men being. Women can be as well.
Okay, so both positive and negative.
Yeah, it depends on the personality. I would
Yeah.
say you can't just judge someone by the gender.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
And I would say exactly the same for women. I think. I mean, well, I can't speak for behalf of women because of obviously I don't know how they feel, but it depends on the person. Some of them they just focus on just men that they're bad and just that's it. And some of them are very open, so they know they can admit yes, women can be bad as well. So I mean that's the information when we talk in group like with friends, and that's what I hear from other women, which is fair enough.
Okay.
Well done, instead of writing it down, just
Yeah. And how has that affected you?
Affected me, I wouldn't say that affects me, but I'm very open to I describe this the definition, but I would say that it makes me realize that it could be for both, it depends on the personality. So that's the thing.
Thank you. Gary, same question to you. So what's your sort of information source that you tend to?
I don't know what you mean, sorry. What exactly do you mean, like Instagram? I don't use Instagram.
Just quick.
Yeah.
It's late.
Oh, okay.
Could be work, so just.
If you do just step outside and
Would it be okay?
yeah, that's fine.
Could be all work.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry.
I don't rely on any sources like that.
Anything
No, I'm not influenced by anything like that.
So no media outlets at
No,
all?
I need proof, I need evidence, I'm objective, yeah? I don't just like look at something and believe in it, yeah?
And that's that.
So I don't get all that because Instagram was invented by a very clever scientist that was used for addiction purposes, yeah, for popularity stakes, because he was like a psychologist that tuned into what addicted people, like obviously popularity and all that kind of stuff. I think it's the third biggest corporation in the world now, so Snapchat's the second biggest, after Microsoft and iPhone or Apple.
It definitely doesn't have to be Instagram. It can be a newspaper that you tend to read, anything that is any sort
It's
of
not
media.
influencing me at all.
You said last week that you had read information.
But it's not influencing my behaviour though, just because I'm reading it.
The thing is, you're jumping from there to there now.
But where's the evidence that it's influencing my behaviour?
No one's saying it is. We're asking you the question. It's not us saying this influences you. Each person so far has
So I
answered.
don't really follow anything like, you know what I mean? I could say, I can make up something for you then.
We're not asking you to do that.
So I don't specifically follow or subscribe to anything really. Just what, you know, I use the internet. So the internet then.
That's the information source.
Okay. Well, I'm not using it as an information source. I'm using it as a communication source. Yeah.
So when you actually type in and you wanted to find out certain factors,
Yeah.
who did you ask?
So in what context though? I'm just wondering, you know?
Just any context.
Because you're doing it about the sexes now, yeah? About men and women, yeah?
Right, if I go onto the internet
Yeah.
and I'm looking for anything, just general,
Right.
and taking on the...
So Google then, Google.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
you use Google.
Alright, I use Google.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
okay. So from there, you then need to go to some sort of search engine and...
Wikipedia.
Flowers.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it could be Wikipedia.
Alright, Wikipedia.
Right. But it's got to be yours, not mine. And it might be now we go on to this.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and unless you jump, or if you try and jump from there to there, cognitively you're not breaking through the steps, which is what we're looking for. That's the reason we're doing this process.
Right.
So now, messages about that. You might not have any. If you don't have any, you can say that.
There's a lot of stuff about men on the internet.
So
There's a lot of stuff about women.
So give us one example that you actually listen to.
Fathers' rights.
Okay.
There's a lot of fathers training themselves to Wayland and dressing up as Batman and Robin or something. I don't know.
Right, that's fine.
Not getting rights, isn't it? I don't know if it's true or not. You know, I'm just reading into it. I just read an article that was on Google. Yeah. The family courts have on Google have come under criticism for not giving rights to fathers. It's been going on for ages. I don't know why it's carrying on. But I don't know, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And same question about women. Anything?
Things like Instagram, Snapchat, and all those types of vehicles are promoting objectification with women to, it's not soft porn, but it's getting like that, yeah?
Okay.
So you're getting, there's a very blurred line between, especially with teenagers and stuff, trying to impress their friends, and it's kind of becoming a little bit soft pornish, yeah? To be honest.
Yeah.
That's all I'm noticing, sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
I agree with that, and also what I'm noticing is actually the age is getting younger and younger. It's true. There's on there for young people, you know, trying to copy adults.
Thank you. And how has this information affected you personally?
I try not to let it affect me until I have evidence, until I have proof, and I try to be as objective as possible and not be influenced.
Okay.
Like, I like to read around the subjects. I like to, you know, find out if this stuff can be verified or validated, yeah?
Okay. Thank you.
So,
And last but not least, to hear same questions from you. So it's information tools that you tend to use.
I don't really do social media.
That's fine.
But TV shows,
Okay.
news, things like that.
So TV mainly. Thank you.
Do you mind me asking what sort of TV shows? Just so
Well,
I've got
I
a bit
watch
more about them.
TV generally, but I've noticed there's a lot of shows, you say, like Love Island and things like that. They're not really,
Well, we don't put that
they're not really, I can't really identify with them because if you look at the people, they always jump on all the reality TV shows. And they always, buff, great guys, great that, and they're good looking women. And it's kind of similar to Instagram, isn't it? TV shows now as well, they're objectified.
Unnatural beauty.
Yeah. So, and another from our simple, like for the older people, like more, there's always young guys, young girls,
Okay, thank you. And how has this affected you?
Well, had I been younger, maybe I would have been taken in by
Right, yeah. Might be pressurized maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
But now?
I can see it for what it is.
Right. Okay. Thank you for everyone's feedback.
Well, let's just add something to my
So your one, yeah? Which part?
also just thinking about the whole thing, and obviously, I would like to add one thing that we need to be very aware of basically goes for both sides as well. And we need to be aware of people those days, how they can we can be manipulated by the other partner.
Yep.
So that's so we have to be always like read better the other person.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
They tap into your insecurities as well. Like when you're younger and you don't really know yourself.
So which part is yours?
You can put that as it affects, not me now, but maybe when I was younger, like this gentleman here was saying, that it will tap into your insecurities if you thought you were missing out on something, and it's like that.
We've got any points, men and women?
Yeah. And you feel like you're not living the right life or something, they give you that impression that you're just not beautiful enough or whatever, isn't it?
Because when you're young, you're still quite impressionable to things like
Yeah, insecure.
Self.
Yeah.
So that's understandable. Thank you for that, guys. What we're going to do is probably use one person's belief due to time and use the Q tool to sort of evaluate how credible it actually is. We're not saying that it's not, but sometimes it's good to sort of challenge the beliefs that you hold and see if other people hold that same belief, or if there's sort of a counter statement that you can come up with from your belief. Okay, so the Q tool, CUE, the C stands for collect the facts. So collect the facts that are accurate. Collect the facts that are accurate and relevant to the issue. Ask yourself questions such as who, what, when, and how. So when you're faced with a belief or an ideology, it's important to just collect the facts about the situation. Who else believes what I'm saying? What is the importance of it? When was this belief sort of created, and how did I go about this? So it's always good to just sort of collect the facts about the situation that you're presented with, rather than jumping straight to it. Usefulness of the problem. Usefulness of the belief in the past, present, and future. How useful is this belief for you? How useful is this belief for other people? So is this belief useful right now, currently, or will it be useful in the next 6 months, in the next 5 years? How useful is this idea that you have currently in the situation that you're in? And then thirdly, you evaluate the belief. So is this belief supported by evidence? Are there facts to this, what you were saying, Barry? Is there facts to the situation? Is there concrete evidence about what you're saying is true? Is it fair? Is it reasonable? And is there more information that needs to be considered? So if I ask someone else, will they hold the same belief, or is there anything else I need to find out rather than jumping the gun? Yeah? Okay.
Just for the collect facts, where you've got who, what, when and how, that's actually linked to therapy with it's called Socratic questioning. They're all open questions, so it actually restricts your ability from just giving a yes or no answer when you use that method. So we're not saying you have to use it, but it's actually a useful one at actually trying to keep your own thoughts open, and we encourage people to use it.
Yeah, but you need but you have to at the same time, I believe, not to be easily manipulated. Because if you open too much to someone, they can convince you otherwise the techniques of convincing people.
Can you never slide back up?
If you know what I'm trying to say. Because some people, especially children, they can be very manipulated into, you know, basically they absorb their brains, you know, they absorb everything like media or
to believe in it very easily.
and they're very manipulated by them. So
Trust as well.
So if you the more questions you ask, the more you know you get into. If you get the wrong person, I mean, in front of, let's say, children at school, you meet someone colleague who tells you, oh, this is good, you know, don't listen to parents, or
Sneering someone's name or something.
yeah, or you know, let's do this, yeah, this is good, don't worry about it. Yeah, that's very. If you know what I'm trying to say.
I hear what you're saying, but we're saying you apply this to your own personal beliefs.
Okay, to yourself, okay, fine.
So we're not actually going towards somebody else and asking them. You're doing it in your head almost, instead of actually reacting to it. Yeah, so you might, it's not a negative belief. Can someone give me sort of like a negative belief that they've had in the past that has not worked out well for them? They've just reacted on that belief. Anyone?
Well, it takes me time to react, but yeah,
Say for your offence, yeah, that brought you here. If you come up there saying, right, okay,
Criticise me.
yeah, thank you, right, yeah. So can we use that one?
Does anyone though, isn't it? Just face it.
I think that's,
Especially when you think you're perfect.
I think that that's true as well. I think it's very difficult.
If you think you're great and then someone's putting you down and you think, you know, you just aced an exam or something and then you're still not good enough, it's kind of, maybe it's coming on the person criticising you as well as responsible, you know, just as responsible.
But I think sometimes in life, the other people around us say something, and it's how we react to it.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be responsible for how we react to that other person.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And we measure that a little bit with the question, you know, would you react the same if it was your employer? We've already checked that one out. And the answer to that is no.
If you know yourself and you know you did well, it's not going to affect you, is it? It's just going to bounce off. So it's when you're insecure in it about your abilities.
I feel like
Sometimes
sometimes it is because some people, if they ain't doing something and they're trying to give you advice or they're trying to tell you about yourself and you're like, how can you tell me that you don't do it?
hypocritical.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're telling me, oh, you go out there and you don't do any work. I'm like, are you telling me that, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's
That will make me laugh, not get angry.
So it's,
But what I'm saying is, well, carry on with your one, because I quite like that. If we collected the facts and how accurate it is, so yes, so we accept that this thing in your head is thinking, who are you to say that? But if you start looking at yourself and say, what are the facts about him not going out there?
criminal record, so I can't get a job.
So you then continue using the Socratics of who, what, when and how.
Me.
Yeah, and then go for give your answer. Yeah, but has that always been the case?
Yeah,
So you've always had a criminal record.
from 21, yeah.
How have other people managed that have had a criminal record?
Oh. So,
So start collecting some facts on that.
maybe,
Would that benefit them?
probably, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So if somebody else is managing it, because it's not just you that's
Of course not.
there. So we know there's other people, but unless we start to ask ourselves these questions, we're never going to actually shift from where we are. And then you look at, okay, what's the usefulness of that belief? I can't get a job because I've got a criminal record. How's that been any use in the past? Has it helped you get a job having that belief? I can't get a job.
I'm not saying I can't get a job, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? We were talking about some girls job, weren't we? Always talking about that. I'm talking about
Yeah, but it came into the job.
Yeah.
And so there's a pause there, so you might need to go back to that and ask yourself that question at a later date.
What's the question?
In the past, has it helped you having the belief that I can't get a job because of my criminal record?
Well, I've always known I can get a job, even with criminal record. I was just saying it in terms of the criticism as an example. Do you know what I mean? But obviously that's not happened to me. I was just giving an example.
And
Negative.
and like I say, well, I've grabbed that one because I think it's excellent about the job, because that often comes up with people that are on probation. You know, it really does come up a lot. You know, I've lost my job, it's all their fault.
Or you lose the confidence of getting a job.
Yeah, but you need to then start using this process to
It
explore.
was her fault.
I totally get it, so I understand.
Right, so one just there, I believe it's her fault.
Of course it was her fault. She didn't exist after working.
I think we all should start from ourselves and then look for the problem in the others. That's what I believe. Every situation you put in yourself into, it's you at the beginning. The other party has nothing to do with it. And then once you wind up, yeah. But I believe that at the end of the day, it's us. It's us. To start with.
Unless we're able to actually, so you know, I didn't catch any of that.
No, I'm just talking to myself.
I think it's very true. Unless we're able to explore ourselves, it won't always be our fault. There will be some facts that actually we find that, you know, are facts that actually support our views and our beliefs. But on the other hand, we need to look at the things we can change. That's the only thing we can do. We can't change anybody else, but we can if we start to look at how real are our beliefs and are they fair. Cool. Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we could do this, well, you'll be doing this a bit more later.
Today's session.
Okay,
So that was the end of last session. So today's session, foundation module session 3, we're going to look at learning from our environment. So our childhood experiences and how what we see growing up can affect our learning as we grow up. So sort of a reinforcement and what's that? I keep forgetting the word. Intergenerational.
Violence.
That's it. And how that can affect us growing up as well. Yeah.
Like, we can repeat, sort of change the word around, but it's basically between, like, when you've got a mum and a dad, and then the children.
How that can affect you as a child as well. And that might even trickle down. So it's just almost a domino effect. So we've done a check-in. So a quick review of what this is what we're going to do today. So a quick review of what we covered in the last session and feedback on, that bit. But we've technically done a review of what last session was. We're going to focus on how we learn through learning history and person factors on the GAN, by exploring how we learn from the people who are important in our childhood, messages we might learn about violence and aggression, how we can be more aware of messages we receive, and then finally learn how to use the here and now tools, which is a skill, just being in the present moment rather than letting your mind drift, to just be in the here and now, essentially.
That bit is, we're meant to see a DVD, okay, at this point, so we're being very transparent. So we had to adapt the session without the DVD. We will show you it at a later date, but I think the input that's coming from the group that you'll be able to do this exercise without seeing it. But we will catch up with it.
Okay, so like Steve said, you were supposed to see a DVD, but the sound doesn't work. So we're just going to have a brief discussion about it technically, and then when we do get a chance for the DVD, we'll show you and we'll run with it. So we're going to look at children, how children are affected by what they see from their parents or maybe their guardians and how that affects them. The first question, who are we most likely to learn from growing up as individuals? Parents?
Teachers and that.
Teachers, yes. Thank you. Grandparents.
Family in general.
Family in general, yeah. So siblings, cousins.
Yes. Friends.
Friends.
And nursery, etc.
School.
School.
Yeah.
Heroes.
Say that again?
Heroes.
Heroes, what do you mean?
You always have someone
Right,
you
okay.
watch them, study school. Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe those cartoons for children.
Cartoons.
Oh no, I'm good friends which they not allow all the books. They don't have even TV at home. They say once they like 10 or 13, sort of this age, then they will be watching maybe some news, other things, but until then, they don't even watch anything. No computers, no telephones, nothing. I totally agree with that.
No, I understand it.
As a group, you mentioned how fast society is changing. I mean, I'm still of an age where I never actually didn't have computers. Oh, we did actually have one what used to buy, go around the thing, keep biting.
Oh yeah, Batman.
That was it. That was just had 2 keys.
Yeah.
That was the only thing we had. The rest of the time we were outside playing.
Sort of like us though, with the snakes. You get me? That was my time. You get me? And that was it. You get me? And one time we were out there with whatnot.
Kids don't really play out no more, do they? It's changed a lot. Okay. Anything else children sort of take from? What cartoons, media, friends, family, teachers, parents, grandparents, school heroes?
Okay, let's put books because that's where there's a good positive.
Yeah, that's true.
Not just negative.
If someone's a heavy reader, they can.
Yeah.
Religion as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, we're not saying positive or negative.
Yeah, it could be both. It could be, yeah, it depends on the.
Right, let's
Yeah, what was that there? Okay, so what might be the benefits of imitating adult behaviours that you see as a child? So copying things that you see from an adult when you're a child, how can that benefit the child?
What, they learn how to brush their teeth.
That could be one. Tying shoelaces.
You know what I mean?
So learning basic life skills.
basic life skills.
Anything else? Benefits of imitating adults.
How to communicate.
Not to behave.
Learning how to speak, how to behave.
You're doing that.
Do you know what, they're fixing the lights,
Okay.
so they did mention that would be one of them.
Yeah.
I think you how to talk to them.
Okay, say a bit more, what do you mean by that?
Communication.
Communication. Okay, communication skills.
Social skills.
Social skills, yeah.
Like, you know, saying please and thank you. That's what I mean. 'Cause some kids have no respect as well. Like, you give them a sweet and they don't, if I can just walk off and you're like you I did it now.
So that can be learned through adults as well. Anything else in terms of benefits of
Or
imitating?
media, obviously.
Say that again, sorry?
Watching, like again, it goes back to heroes or whatever. Like people who grew up with things like Grange Hill. I don't know if you remember that. Steve, you might remember that.
Thank you.
You know, like with the kind of like, you know, it's like a kind of like a stereotypical school, and you kind of like looking up to them
Right.
in a way that they're cool, innit? They're on TV,
Right.
they're famous, and so on, innit? So there's an emulation there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they came to my kebab house. Sign my autograph, mate.
Yeah, my school.
I went to your school. Oh my god, so lucky.
What about composure? Like, in terms of aggressive situations, your parent could be having an argument and they don't get angry and that, so they learn how to
Communicate.
like go angry. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you negative.
That's the next-
But I'm just saying, they don't actually fight. An argument that occurs in a car or something like road rage, and they get out at someone and they say, all right, listen, just calm down, or they break up the fight, and they see that. It's not always,
Yeah, and they could imitate that in the future as
like
well.
in school,
Yeah.
two kids could be fighting.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah, positive
That
reinforcement.
didn't happen with me, but yeah.
So seeing like people that you look up to, like parents or siblings, even if they do have a fight, resolving it
Yeah.
effectively, that could trickle down to the kid.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. Anyone else with any more suggestions?
I suppose the negative is
Yeah,
going to
maybe it's a
be.
negative,
No,
just,
but I mean,
yeah.
it's a negative that's going to be more influential as you're growing up, though, isn't it? Because you're more traumatized by your brain's more traumatized by the negative than the positive. You're more likely to forget the positive stuff that happened, like that you're seeing as a child, like the violence and everything, or the stuff where you got in trouble with the police. It's always going to be more prevalent in your mind,
Yeah.
even to this day, isn't it? So.
Okay, let's move on to the negatives, I guess. So what are the negative effects of children imitating behaviors that they see from adults?
Grow up and start smoking.
Okay, so taking on bad habits.
And swearing. The parents always swearing in the house.
And that's sponges. So
Communication skills.
communication skills, bad communication skills.
Structure of the sentences as well, I mean,
Or imitating how they talk. Is that
How they
easy?
talk.
Yeah.
It's role models, whether they're positive or negative. And convenience as well, like if you've got the alcohol holster there, whiskey in it, and your parents have gone out, you
Right.
just help yourself. Or cigars or whatever. With your mates.
Any other negative effects of imitating adult behavior?
Well, like road rage, seeing your dad do it.
Sexual relations in front of them. They could think that it's a right to really touch people in school. Like, because their parents are doing it. You know what I mean?
well, that goes to school now. What's it, LGBT, where they're teaching children how to masturbate and how to play with the yeah.
When's this?
The latest one.
I remember the banana, the condom on the banana was about That's seriously, I remember that. Sex education.
I don't, yeah, he's LGBT.
Oh yeah, we think so.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I thought they were a minority though, they're not
Yeah,
majority, are they?
they're trying to make kids from 9, I think, from 9 or 8 years of age. Which is, to me, it's like,
That's a bit overly
Facts on that one.
I haven't heard that.
That's interesting.
We'll have to Q2.
So showing children how to masturbate, I've never heard
well,
of
yeah,
that.
I'm not touching themselves and get a pleasure from it. I promise you.
I straight away, I like the fact that you're using the material. You do that as much as you like with each other, because it's shown a respectful way of actually challenging.
Yeah.
So if you hear something that's, that just doesn't seem right, pull with the facts. But we're not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
We're just actually exploring why you have that belief.
Well, I got it from you, so again, I'm not just giving it from you.
What about the school, about teaching them to?
Yes, that they introduce it in your system, then you, yes, it's another.
I can imagine
I've
kids
never heard of that.
no
What school was that then? Where did that start?
Well, my understanding of it is that some schools, okay, are learning now about relationships.
But that's fine.
Not specifically LGBT. That's my understanding of the facts I have.
When you say relationships, like, because last week we had a bit of confusion about what a relationship was, are you talking about the intimate variety with the boy and the girl, or are you talking about his work colleagues, or marriage, you mean?
Well, no, it's not specific. It's okay, it doesn't go like as deep as we do in this program. It's just an outline of actually, okay, like respect. Not the things you put down here, what is an intimate relationship? Because I don't know about you, but again, this might be generational, we're going to be talking about this. My information about sex at school was very much, like you say, a banana with a condom and then a drawing on a page of a penis
Yeah.
and a vagina, and that was it.
But have you heard about LGBT? What they introduced the agenda for LGBT?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good at the news. I mean, actually, I'm not sure actually about here, but
Was that
in
for-
Poland, I mean, Warsaw, they're trying to this abolish the, you know,
Gay, bi, trans.
yeah, trans.
I heard that
You mean-
some part of America, they want to educate the kids how they need to accept gay stuff in school. Like, I've heard that.
And I think that's
Some part of in America.
I think that's correct,
Yeah.
what you're saying, and I think that's also happening here. What it's trying to do is give that objective view on the fact that neither, you know, shouldn't be aggressive. Look at diversity. If you turn around and wonder what children turns out to be gay, homosexual, or whatever. It's about the realisation, don't you want your child to be accepted when they go to school?
Yes, I do understand that, but going further with like how to touching themselves, how to get a pleasure out of it, I think everything is going against like marriages and the values which we had, you know, before as a human.
How old are the children?
You know, it's directing away.
What age are we talking about? Less than 10? Under 12? Because we only got sex education at puberty, like you know, I never get it that young.
You know, we don't go with this before, so we never had that. That was like we never been.
But like you said, I think last session, the world is moving and we sort of got moving on with it.
Yes, but I think it's moving a bit
Too quick,
not too quick, yes, but do we really want? Okay, I understand that we need to make our children of acceptance of other gender or beliefs, or that I agree.
Yeah.
But pushing them to in an early age to not give them the values of marriage. Okay, no one's saying that everyone has to get married, but where is this going?
Can that cause a
If you got like two wives, you know, and then children with everyone, where are they gonna get the values from? You know, who's
The internet.
you know, I'm trying to say, you know, it's a mix you know, I believe, as we say, family is 2 plus 1, otherwise you just couple. You know, even though we married, you couple. You know, family calls is 2 plus 1. If it's not plus 1, you're not a family, you're just a couple.
Nuclear family.
But I think, again, that may be a belief you're sitting there with. You hold that belief personally. That
Yeah, I'm not, yes.
No, I'm not having to go with you, but that, again, that shows how different people are. You know, we did that nested ecological model.
Yes.
The social, where we had the four
Yes.
different layers. Yeah? That will be about your culture.
Mm.
It could be about, thank you, individual,
Your
sexuality, anything like that will come in and it will be personal to you.
Mm.
What it could do is actually affect the way you interject with other people. So you could get quite upset about what's on, and then that turned into
Don't get me wrong, I'm not upset about it. I'm not judging anything. I'm just thinking, I've been...
You're upset about masturbation, mate.
I mean,
That is young for young children.
It's wrong. And it's not because I have my beliefs, because I was raised in a different environment. It's, I think, pushing children too early for like, that's, I mean, let's face it, it's masturbation, you know, getting how to make a pleasure out of, you know, touching yourself. That's the masturbation.
Don't need to know anything about
I think
that.
children are somebody, you can redirect the children, you know, in a completely...
Why don't the schools just stick to English and maths, yeah, and just keep it down, and the children will work all that out for themselves in no time at all. And most children are not stupid. They're just going to use that as just if they want to have sex, they're going to have sex. If they're going to do drugs, they're going to do drugs. Yeah. Or if they don't have powerful, if they don't have mentors and people in their lives that are positive role models, they're going to do stuff like that anyway. It makes no difference what the teachers tell them or what they're taught. I mean, sex education. What was that all about? You know, there was no need for
I
that.
understand where you're coming from, yeah? But me personally, when I was growing up, when I see bad stuff, I don't get myself involved. And like, I don't know how I made it. Like, I was having friends that had soldiers, wandering and stuff like that. I was always along with them. But when it gets to that point, I always push back. Like I mentioned the last time, like my dad wasn't 100%. But some life that he was living, I was living the opposite life. And because of that, like, I was thinking that everybody was like me. You get to a point that, like, how should I put it? Everybody was like me in the sense that we come in convinced by friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But trust me, it's not like that. Some people are very easy to be influenced. Very easy. So you understand the point now? In the school,
we're talking about it, it's a discussion, you know, open to discussion, I'm not saying I'm right.
No, I'm not saying that, but what I understand from you is, it is wrong for them to teach kids at that early stage, because some people are easy to be influenced to do stuff that they don't even to do.
Yeah, at the same time, can I just also to this one? At the same time, I believe, the question comes to me, okay, maybe they're trying to go ahead with before the media and make the children aware before they get it from internet the wrong way, get it from the media and stuff. So maybe that's the whole idea. So you see, I'm not just convinced with one thing. I'm getting 2 points. You know, that's the question. It comes to me.
I can hear that with the way you speak. It seems like you almost talk through what you think, and then do a reflection on a different thing, and that's fine because you're using the cue tool without going through the steps.
I'm consciously I'm doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, I haven't got an opinion on it because I haven't got the facts. I don't know the material there specifically to know.
Oh, you can Google it. It's on just go on Warsaw thing. Parents are doing bananas literally. Parents are going on.
How can you trust the Google? Where's that source of information which Gary said?
Yeah, but I don't trust the Google.
That's right.
I like to find out another platform as well, just to see if it collaborates, yeah? So it's not I'm just being quite completely objective.
Okay, there is, okay, firstly, I'm sure you can find
I've never heard of that before.
on news because I'm following news what's happening in Poland. And, you can, because, well, like Polish news, so there are people, the parents strikes, you know, like, not strikes, but like going on the street, what do you call it, protests. And so they reach against it, say like, we are the parents, I want to educate my child, I don't want my child to, which is Poland is a little bit this behind, you know, I mean, they've been behind.
I think it's
very Catholic country.
I think it's a fair point, but again, I personally would want to see the curriculum that the school has got. Because remember, you've got academic schools, you've got all different schools, and all the different schools won't be teaching the same thing.
But you see, you can argue about if the school will take that from parents. And you see, I like my subject, I'm just going to reverse a little bit. I like some of my subject because of the teachers. So it depends on the teacher how he's going to present to children. What if you got a wrong person and give them mixed information or mix them up with what's really all about?
I just don't even know how I got to this.
Well, you can go on with this, you know. So.
I think you're true. That's why we have to remain accredited. We have to be viewed. And if what we're saying isn't factual and isn't fair, and like a lot of the stuff on the computer, we're no longer allowed to deliver.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not judging.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying I think it's a really good thing that it's audited and it's monitored. Yeah, I'm happy for someone to turn around and say to me, you could have done that better. You know, the message you gave was fine, but actually you need to use the computer and see that the way
it always comes back to me, comes back to me. Yes, I know that.
Because it affects the group and
sorry.
our co-worker.
I didn't mean anything against you. Sorry. No, I was referring to schools and, yeah. Sorry.
No.
Did I come across this way?
You definitely didn't.
Sorry if you did, I'm joking. I just realized, what did I say?
That's you definitely did that.
Okay, sorry.
No, you don't need to
There's nothing to apologise for.
Well,
So that links on perfectly to my next question, which is how much choice do children have in whether or not they copy adult behaviours? That sort of ties in nicely with what the discussion we're going. How much choice do kids actually have in whether they copy us or not? Do they have a choice? Why?
It's like illegal. Little choice, obviously they're their own person. Do you know what I mean? So much as they're learning from us, they still make their own decisions. My son's quite smart in it, so I believe he knows what he's doing and he does. Do you know what I mean? And he knows what's right and wrong. Do you know what I mean? So.
Does anyone have a thank you for that, Ryan? Does anyone have a different view to what Ryan just suggested?
I think children, they learn how to listen more to their colleagues or someone their age, rather than parents. It's like, oh, don't listen to parents, they're old. Sometimes you can't, yeah, they too old for that, they wouldn't understand.
So you're saying they have much greater choice when it comes to...
Well, it depends on the personality, they can be influenced by someone or not. And that's the parents' job to make them aware of those, of anyone else,
Like, maybe it's a little bit difficult for me to get it, because I don't really remember listening to someone, or maybe having like my dad or my mom trying to advise me about something. I never had that opportunity. So it was like, oh, me, looking around what's going on, and if it's good, I'll get it. If it's bad,
You never told them when you grow up you're going to be a doctor.
no,
You have to be a lawyer.
No.
Something like that. You know, when parents say that, just dream and
It
joy
was
into
like,
your
my
head.
mom was always at work, my dad at work, sometimes come back home very late, we cook for ourselves. So just me and my little brothers.
You would always.
Now I have a sister. Yeah. So I can't really get in. Because I don't remember learning something from anybody. It was all about me, like when I see good stuff, I get in. So most of the time I think we need to use our common sense, because common sense everybody have it. Like, you know what I mean?
You get it
But
from someone
how
else.
do you know that this thing is good to get into or this thing is negative to get into? How did you know that?
Like, without you telling me anything, yeah? I know that if I cut myself, there will be a blood. And that is common sense. So it's the same. Because like, there are some certain things that somebody don't need to tell you, do this, or you don't need to read from the book. You need to understand it yourself. Like, for instance, if I punch you, what's going to happen? You fall down. So I don't need to. It's common sense.
Listen, yeah, you say that, yeah, but then obviously the girl that I'm in for, her dad is a life coach, and he coaches people that are millionaires how to change their lives because they don't know how to live their life. They've got money, their family have spoiled them so well, put them in private school, like they've got money now, they're educated, got into a good job, but they don't have no social skills, they don't know how to communicate with people outside of work, you know what I mean? It's not about being a boss. So they're bored, they're lonely, you know what I'm trying to say? So they'll pay him like 30 grand to take him away and he'll teach them how to change things that he's doing, like the habits and all that. So, you know what I mean? It's not even like you can...
True. That is what normally, like my dad normally said, common sense is not common to common people. Like, yeah, it's not like everybody has the common sense, but trust me, I personally think everybody has it, but we just don't use it.
I see what both of you guys are saying. I feel like Brian is not as black and white basically. Is that what you're trying to, as in what Bismarck is saying, it's not as black and white.
Yeah, because obviously he's saying that it's common sense, like
It's not
having
black and white.
yeah, but I'm saying, what about you come from all different backgrounds?
We don't really go into the idea of being loved and being respected, and the reason, the motivations behind the choices that you have to be influenced by adults, for example. So you might want to be part of a gang, I don't know, you need to do something, or you want to be loved by your mother, so you do something for her. You know, it's like there's a kind of condition, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's my two.
I think children at that age, they haven't got independent thinking. So they can't make a choice. They just see what they're seeing and then reacting in the same manner. It's not like they've got independent thinking skills where they can say, oh, this is right, this is wrong. I think that kind of framework is developed as they get older.
And one more thing I was going to say, because obviously what I learned yesterday, sorry to keep going on, but me and my mum had a conversation. She was telling me that back in the day she used to be very angry in school. She got kicked out of 3 different schools. So obviously I was thinking, so I must have inherited that. Should I not? Did I not? Definitely. No, do you know what I'm trying to say? I was just thinking subconsciously, I must have seen that as a child. The aggression and all that, her splitting up with my mum, having a fight. I remember at 2 years old, my last memory of them fighting, when she's being held against the wall and then she's getting to get me, and then like that's in my head. I remember it. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? I'll never forget that. Do you know what I mean? So like subconsciously it's in there, you're seeing it.
I think it's DNA. Because my dad used to fight, but I never saw my dad fighting with anybody. But like when I was in school, it was smart. Like when you upset me, I can't really. Sometimes when I'm upset, I can't talk, because when I talk, I feel like crying. So I'll just boom, boom. And, I never saw my dad do that, but I heard, like a friend or your dad was this. So anytime something like that happened in school, we'd be like, oh, it's that. So I understand what you said, do you know what I mean? Yes. It's a bit. And sometimes, like, so like, I don't know what I'm going to do wrong, as I'm saying about common sense. I know 100% that you don't need to put your hand on anybody. But for the fact that you can't control your demons, you just stand up and you just do something, forget yourself.
Sorry, to link that back to what Ryan said in terms of if growing up you had parents or carers who resolved situations in a positive way, as a kid you might reinforce that, because you said the situation, maybe if you saw your parents argue, or if you saw something, if your carers, if they resolved arguments or situations in a way that was deemed as positive, you might reinforce that. But is it growing up, I think some people are too, if your parents say someone hits you, hit them back harder. So as a kid, growing up, having that sort of ideology when you're growing up, so you know if anyone sort of treads on your toes, you are going to react to violence because you've been told to by your parents. So that links back to what you said. If you've seen that sort of positive resolution, how to deal with conflict, it might, you know.
I had more as well, because my dad was composed and calm, and my mom was angry and aggressive. Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? So my dad used to do self-defense, and he goes to hospitals and all that, teaches doctors how to protect themselves from patients, and goes to prisons and all that, trains up the officers and all that type of stuff. So he's always been a calm person in my life. Because they split up from young, I only used to see him once a week, so I'll go there, I'm thinking everything will be nice and calm, then I'll come back home and it's all fiery and, do you know what I'm trying to say to you? So it's like, you've got two, so that's what I know in myself, I can be a calm, composed person, but then it's like when something happens, you like, kind of go my mum's way, but like you're saying, is it my mum's way, like have I learned it from that, like that age? Is it, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
And I think one of the points are good, you know, anything that's come out, because it actually links into that children see. You've got up there parents, you've got up there teachers, it could be family, it could be friends, you know, because we're not all lucky enough to have both parents, it could be a caregiver. So it's the default who you actually look up to the most in your life, that you genuinely
Well, in my family, it was always quiet. I was like two and a half. I started playing chess, so it's like, so that's
the best at chess.
I just want to do the I just want to do
So for you, how would you, so did that affect how you dealt with maybe conflict or resolution
Yeah, I've been always able to step back and see. That's what I've been told. Not to get upset with anyone, not to hate the other person, try to understand the other person, think twice before you make decision. Obviously, having conversation with people and being open. It's as well. Obviously, politics and religion is hard to. It's always this tension and things, but it depends who you're talking to people, because some people can calmly talk and point their views, and some people are very especially when they have something behind it. Their beliefs are very strong. It's hard for them to see the other view of other people.
There's a nice link to the fact that when you do have a strong belief, that's when it links into your emotions.
Yes, yeah.
And then the emotions rise, and then the common sense you said about, it may be in there somewhere, but it actually
That's what I'm saying. In my case, I strongly believe I was trying to fight too much for something which had no. I didn't compare myself to that. Like, you try to be the calm one, and then someone's trying to.
You see the kind of relationship as a game of chess or something?
But at the beginning, I must say, I was very successful. Like, trying to put common sense. But with time, it was going from bad to worse, and that affected me. Maybe because we were for too long together. We were for over 6 years. So, yeah.
Later on, we'll touch on that. We'll be looking at attachment styles in another module. And that is quite, for me, it's quite an interesting subject, because there's so many different types of relationships.
You have to know when to draw the line. It's like, there's nothing you can do. You have to walk out because you're actually getting drawn to it.
And let go.
And then let go, yes.
You have to know what type of person you're dealing with in the beginning anyway, before you get into all of these kind of traps in relationships. It's no good you thinking someone's a lady when they turn out to be an attention-seeking narcissist or whatever, yeah? When they're down the line. So anyone can get caught out if you don't see the red flags and you don't take notice of them because you're so in love. So all of this kind of 6 years, 10 years down the line makes no difference. Because they can still take you to divorce court and get everything anyway, and you be just served right. So don't make any difference.
Do you believe that we all have narcissist tendencies?
Yes. But some of us have scruples, ethics and morals, yeah? And some people don't. Some people are just callous. They don't care about the consequences. Like, for example, if I crashed into your car and I damaged it quite severely, yeah? And maybe I injured you, I'm not going to do a run, am I? I'm just going to stand there and just, whatever it takes. Some people just hit and run with it. And just let the police try and find them.
But like you say, that's about values and beliefs, linking back to the way we were taught by somebody. And we would all have been taught.
I think it's to do with empathy and apathy, isn't it? It's to do with like self-love, like you should love yourself, yeah? But some people kind of only love themselves. They don't love anyone else. It's kind of toxic, yeah? Where they might go around saying that they love everybody, and so they're playing a game kind of thing. And it's those kind of people that will ruin your life, that turn your life upside down because you don't see them coming. Because you're just in love with them, innit? Because they're giving you everything you want.
So when they love you, blind, you can't see nothing.
You're not blind now because that kind of person doesn't care if you go to prison, they don't care if they take your house, your children, everything. They just turn everything upside down.
I've actually happened, but when there's like kind of like normal argument, you would think it's normal, but it's very low. You are trying to sort of stuff until maybe you get to this level. That is when you be like, nah, this is not love.
Someone loves themselves that much.
Different love by
They love themselves to that. If they love themselves to that level, they don't even see you as a person. You're just like an ATM or whatever. Yeah, you're nothing to them. You mean nothing, and it takes you a whole cycle to realise that. And that's why you can't make that mistake ever again. You've got to see those red flags straight away for that kind of person, because they will ruin your life. You have to start all over again.
If you have the beliefs that you're voicing, then if you thought about the Q tool, using that with some of the things that were happening in your relationship, do you think you could have benefited from perhaps getting out of that relationship sooner? You know, if you start asking yourself, well, what am I responsible for in this? And you end up with a fact that actually nothing, you know, where did I go wrong? How did this happen?
I trusted someone, that's where I went wrong.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
I believed in someone. I did all the proper the things you're supposed to do in a relationship.
Why did
But it turns out she was a fraud.
Why did you stay in the relationship?
Because I thought she was real until it was obvious. Yeah.
Why didn't you?
But it was too late then.
Too late for what?
No, because it wasn't, obviously in the beginning it wasn't like that. You know, it was, she was just everything I wanted. She just, she presented herself as everything I needed and wanted, that I required in a partner, yeah? And then eventually, it slowly, she revealed who she was, you know? Like, just someone who was on the supply, or just an extraction, just, you know, financial abuse, emotional abuse, and then it just came to light, and then she just went on to someone else. Yeah, that's just how it is.
I think it's very strong. I mean, you're still upset about the whole thing.
I'm still angry about it. I'm trying to tell you, you gotta watch out, man. I'm preaching here.
I believe that you just
You could have it
When I lost everything, mate, trust me,
I was lucky.
Lost my job, like, I worked for McLaren, Formula One, the seasons I'm now meant to be in all of these countries. I can't leave the country because of my license. To get me probation said no, can't go nowhere. Well, 2 snaps, obviously it's not, obviously I'm in the wrong, but let's think about what's really happened. The judge didn't even care about what happened before for me to get to that position, even though I know I shouldn't hit her.
Did you knock her unconscious or anything? She had a coma.
No, I never slapped
How
her.
old was she?
Trying to take her head off. I gave her a slap to say, what are you doing? Like,
Okay.
more like, you know, like, to, like, wake up, slap. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying.
That wasn't the first case in court, was it?
No, I've been cool before.
That's what, yeah. Like, that's like, when, since like this,
Obviously, this is what I'm saying, they didn't go deep to say, there must be, before you send someone to prison, there should be a way to help some, like,
the files, they do the files and they do like, this day. They can just make it just when they trust me.
No, but obviously, I'll put some facts in, okay, around this. Now, that is a version of events that Ryan's just given. Well, Ryan, have you been on this program before?
Yeah, said that last week.
Okay. If I'm looking at that, I hear and I read the report I wrote about you, what's the likelihood of me sentencing you to another program? After seeing like how well you had done on the previous program? Because you reoffended.
Yeah. But they sent me to prison.
Yeah, why?
Because she came to court and read out a statement saying that I weren't there for my baby when she was pregnant.
What was your responsibility in that that took you to the court? What did you do?
Just said that, I slapped her twice.
Right, so thank you for admitting that. So previously being on this program, you go through the whole process, you say the skills you think you can use in the future that will stop you from using violence and abuse again, and then when it comes to the next relationship you don't use them. Then you go to prison. Because actually it's showing, yes, you may know them in theory, but once you get out to the outside world...
Yeah, it's always easier to know something about what put into action. It's completely different things.
So it's not judgment on you, it's a fact.
You're saying that I never learned my lesson. Do you know what I mean? So obviously it's in my best interest to come back here and to go to prison, because obviously I've not learned. Do you know what I mean? But like
you unconsciously attract this cheaper. Because I know now if I see someone violent or changing different split personalities, or maybe I'm really like focused. I need someone calmer, and so if I see someone who will be like alive around friends and then come home and be different, and you know, not like more or less like this. If I see someone like that, then I know it's stay away, stay away.
And as long as that works for you, then
Well, I'm very cool. I believe I will not very now.
Yeah, how's it going? You're right, yeah. Yeah, I've got a bit of a problem, man. It's, you know, you pushed it over to the CPS, yeah?
Started university, man. Yeah. So what do you want me to do then? You want me to just, like, stop living now or what? Yeah, you asked me to, you told me to get rid of them. Even though there's nothing on them that would incriminate me anyway. Who is it, is it a Lucy you're talking about? Look, I'm not running away, Tony. I'm right here, and I've already been buggered on my DBS. I'm going to have problems anyway with the university with this enhanced certificate, yeah? It's like you've really made a meal out of this non-molestation order, and you haven't put down what I actually did, like 5 emails, Tony, yeah? So I'm not going to be able to explain that. So I could even be chucked off the course now anyway, yeah? So, yeah. Alright, look, alright, put it, yeah, okay. It's been over 6 months, nearly 6 months, Tony. Tony, if I was harmful, do you think I'd be up front like this? Look, I've only got a gripe with this, yeah? It's because I've got a lady downstairs who got her dad to trash my house, yeah? And trash my car and trash my motorbike, and you did nothing about it, Tony, yeah? You did nothing. I know it's got nothing to do with you personally, but I'm just saying on one hand, real harassment, real contact, real stalking, yeah? Because they were watching me as well and they were intimidating me and I was going to work, yeah? And then we've got this, where I've just gone on, I don't know, YouTube and just talked about my life. Alright, fine. Cheers. So shit. I can just do it right up now. Look. Maybe. Well, the thing is, yeah, none of them light up, look. So they're trying to do me for that as well. They're trying to charge me for... Oh man, you've got nothing on me now. They don't incriminate me anyway. There's nothing on YouTube. Like what? I wouldn't mind, yeah, but the reason I've got a gripe with this is because you've let, again, systematically ruin my property, my car, my bike, yeah? But at the same time, you're coming down on me like a ton of bricks, then I'm just being upfront. If I was harmful, Do you think I'd go on the internet? No, I wouldn't. If I was a bastard, I'd fucking do it properly, innit? Physically. If I was psychotic, I would not have a trace. I would never bring my phone anywhere. I would never do anything that wasn't up front. Since May, innit? You arrested me in May. So, that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's nearly 6 months now. What have they got? Did they go back to my DBS? My DBS certificate now it's fucked up. And when's that going to be fucking removed? On top of that. I just don't understand it, Tony, man. It's like, who are you protecting? The bottom line is, who are you protecting? And are you protecting their reputation? Are you protecting their life? I mean, what are you protecting? Is what I want to know. Just going on YouTube and just talking about my life is not really like coming to someone's house and scratching up their windows, is it? I didn't do anything to him. You know I'm angry with her, I hate her. I didn't do fuck all to her. All I did was fucking protest, man, because she ripped me off, innit? She's still ripping me off. She's still ripping me off. Yeah, but the thing is, just squashing the wrong person. Gave me so much time for that, though. And then you stuck it on there. So you're convicting me, right? For hitting her, innit, yeah? But when I said that she hit me and she denied it, yeah, and I could prove it, you didn't want to know, you didn't give a shit. So, I told you that someone come and scratched up my windows and scratched up my car and scratched up the bike, yeah? They didn't live in it or whatever. Because people are funny about when you live above them, yeah? They suddenly get really sensitive to noise and something like that, I don't know. I've never been in that position, so I don't know. Maybe I will in the future, but... So... I wouldn't mind, man. Yeah, if I take out an organisation order, the woman is below me, yeah? Take out an injunction against her dad, yeah? I will be a sitting target here, yeah? I ain't going to be able to move 30 miles away. And you lot can use all your tactics in the book, but they're malicious, yeah? These are malicious people, yeah? These are harmful people, yeah? They ain't going to go on the internet and start protesting or start talking. They're going to start getting physical, yeah? They're going to start really stalking, really harassing, really contacting. Not emailing for money that actually is owed to me. This is just silly. Because... got him fucking recorded anyway, bastard. Okay, lovely. Is Tony about? Tony, probation officer. You know the guy? Tony. That's right. Tony, yeah. Old geezer. Then he's 50s, yeah? I'll ask you, yeah. I can ask you, yeah? Thanks. Thanks. Alright, who's it? Tell me about. 20 doesn't work here anymore, no. Who are you? I'm Gary. Basically, can I talk to your probation officer then? Yeah, that's fine, yeah. Maybe we can find an interview or something, yeah? It's about the police taking my stuff here, and... Are you on probation currently, or...? No. So you got this, yeah? From the police station, yeah? And it's for something like, going on YouTube and calling the authorities, yeah? Not stalking or whatever, contact or whatever. He's taken my computer, yeah? I want it back. He's had it over months, yeah? So... You're under review or something, the CPS are under review of this case or whatever, so do you want to find it out? Oh, there's the number, do you want to find it out for us? I'm sorry, but that's not anything to do with us. You're not under probation, so... I was under probation. Are you currently now? No. Then I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do right now. Can you find out how the case is getting on then? Like, because it's been weeks. So we want, you have to work for the police, you won't have any access to that. They won't talk to me. I already went to the police. Yeah, it's nothing to do with probation, unfortunately. So we wouldn't be able to find out anything with it. Alright, so how can I lodge a complaint then? You can from the police. Not just with the probation officer, I've already done it with the police officer, but what about this court? Because you're the ones who are it's under review, yeah? Not you, I'm just saying. So you can make complaints. I've already made a complaint to the CPS, but what about this court? Because this is the one that's causing me problems, yeah? I can't move on. Yeah. All I can suggest is to go to the general office downstairs. General office downstairs, the security guard, you mean? No, so when you walk in the building, it's like on the left, on the ground floor. Okay, the back there. Okay. Who can I ask for? Is anyone? There's no one specifically. You just speak to anyone in the general office, they might be able to help out. Alright, thanks. I'm getting the wall. That here. Hi guys, the general office is this way? Or this way? This way? I can go this way too. Huh? They close at 4:30. Okay, so there's no one to talk to me, alright. Okay, so I have to come back tomorrow, yeah? Okay. I'll go through? It's gonna be... I'll just go on my phone and everything. Alright. Take care, thanks. I can call them, yeah? Alright then. Call them? Yeah. Yeah.